And go.
We're here again just because you couldn't wait for us any longer. The Board Game Snobs podcast. This is Jerry, of course. You would expect me to be the one talking because I am the star. And with me is my dear friend,
Gabby. I'm your dear friend you look at me.
I was looking at you.
You were looking directly at me, so I spoke up, primary host of the show.
I was looking at your jaws.
With me as well is my dear friend.
Oh, are you looking at me?
I'm looking at you.
I thought you were looking at Jerry.
No, I know my eyes are squinty, but they're not that small. I'm opening them up wide. I am beady-eyed.
You are.
My wife often tells me that.
It's very disconcerting because you look like you could be a Bond villain, sort of. Like not a villain, but like a slightly competent henchman.
Well, with bad vision, because he can barely see.
No, you're squinting because that kind of bends your lenses a little bit. It helps you see.
Squinting, my favorite person on Shut Up and Sit Down.
Great director, Quentin Tarantino.
I
love him.
Tarantino.
Love him. His shows are really hard to see.
I prefer the older man that ran the vineyard in A Walk in the Clouds, Anthony Squint.
That was...
No, is that his name?
You had to really reach
I don't
for
even know
that
if that's his name.
I don't know.
Anthony Quinn? Is that
Anthony
a guy?
Quinn, yeah.
Anthony Squint. That works.
Okay. All right. And
With us today also...
the president of the Enrique fan club.
My fan club.
And owner-operator of the Board Game Snobs North conglomerate. He's
Frankie of the North.
He's the ambassador.
That's how he used to be known.
Frankie of the North.
Thank you. I will say I have enough eyeballs to cover all the squinty guys that happen to be here today. I'm always told that I've got like giant bulgy eyes, so I got you covered.
Your eyes don't seem bulgy, but you do seem like a lot of... What is the pupil? What's the area around the pupil?
The iris.
Your iris?
Yeah,
The iris. Your irises are really like...
I'm very irisy.
You're very irisy.
My favorite Goo Goo Dolls song.
You beat me to it. Get out of my head. I was just going to say, they wrote that song about me, actually.
Yes, I love that. Love that song. And Frankie, so a lot of our listeners are wondering, why are we having Frankie on?
I would like to know.
why?
Easy.
Not only...
Have we gotten this low? Have we ran out of all the other guests?
This is
After all the phenomenal guests you guys have had, you just hit rock bottom right now. Get it out of the way.
boots with the furlough is how. So we had Frankie has been probably one of the longest time listeners of our podcast, and he's also started the Enrique fan club.
Me and Christian both.
Yes, the
You guys say that, but honestly, because Christian came up with the idea of cosplaying you guys, and like, no offense, but he was the easiest one to kind of cosplay. You throw on a sleeveless shirt and grab some chicken nuggets, you're done.
Otherwise, you add on a fat suit and shave your head.
No, just get a bald cap.
Go as one of the clumps, and then you're made.
Well, what'd you do? Well, I just wore khakis and I took a bunch of Adderall, and there was Jerry.
You're right.
And act arrogant.
And neither Christian and I have the hair to pull off the Jerry coif, so it had to be Enrique.
Yeah, the coiffed is a have to thing. So not only is Frankie, how do you say your last name so we can dox you?
Lefebvre. Everyone tries to French it up. It's
not that hard.
American. Lefebvre.
It's
done.
the
It's not
Lefebvre.
Brett Favre.
It's not
Lefebvre.
Lefebvre.
No, it's
It's
Lefebvre.
funny you say that. I used to work at McDonald's way back out of high school, and I had a manager that put me on the schedule as Frankie Lefebvre. So I would always be like, yeah, I'm Brett Favre's like long lost French cousin.
And so not only does Frankie cosplay Enrique on his day off, he is also a member of probably one of the, I don't know how I would describe Superboard Sunday.
Easy.
I would say one of the podcasts that are on the internet.
There we go.
That's accurate.
That is accurate.
Frankie is
Part of the Gateway Network.
Frankie is 1/4 of that podcast.
Can we please get into that?
The Gateway
Has that been
Network?
resolved at all?
Are y'all still on there?
We're kind of
Are
resolved.
we on there?
We're resolved. I think
You haven't sent in the emails yet.
Look. A lot of this stems from old feud I've been having with Jeff, and that it started because I said some really
It's really one-sided.
blasphemous things about Jeff.
Jeff's like, what's going on?
I don't-
What did I do?
I hacked Jeff's Instagram and started like posting.
Yo, I lost $2,000 out of that.
I'm sorry. But it's like, yeah,
Inside Gateway Network humor.
he didn't take it well. And people like Jeff, all Jeffs, there's Trevors,
Geoffs.
There's just certain
Chads.
There's very few Chads I like. But that's
Todd's.
Todd's kind of a
Really?
one.
Todd? You got a thing with Todd?
Is it a Todd with 1D or 2D?
One.
Two.
One.
Two.
Both.
1D, get out. It's like Scott with 2 T's.
Scott with 2 T's.
That is insane. Anyway,
But that's not up to the person. That's up to their parents.
but if your parent, that's a reflection of how you're raised.
What if you were Jerry
And how
with a
you're
G?
loved.
With the G?
Yeah.
Well, then I would not be here because I would not be as cool as I am.
He would have taken himself out on the
Somebody's
sword
calling
early.
me.
Just, I'm not going to be a Jerry with a G. I'm out.
Not doing it.
Not Gerald.
Gerald. But anyways, so Frank.
Would you have gone by a completely different name? Like, would you change that up?
Fun fact, yes. Matter of fact,
You say fun fact very loosely.
because it's fun to me. I don't mean it's going to be fun for you. It's fun for me to repeat
All
it.
about you.
It's going to be a nice experiment.
My original name, before my father ex-nayed this, was Marty.
Oh, God.
McFly!
I was named after Back to the Future, Marty McFly.
Really?
My father, though, who also was the one who delivered me, when he went to get my mother out of the hospital and myself, my mother, who of course was quite the hippie and did not want to even take me to the hospital after I was born in the backseat of a Chevy Malibu.
Where you were conceived.
Also, same vehicle, same conception. That's why classic car, classic
Really
personality.
biffed it up on that one.
There you go.
God.
So he just went, and the nurse, his recounting of the story was, they wouldn't let me leave the hospital with you until we named you. And he says, your mother kept telling them we were going to name you Marty. And he says, I just told him, no, she's mistaken. Just put Junior. And he says, I just gave him my name.
The dog, Indiana.
Yes. And so he says, that's how you got. So I was named after my dad. And there you go.
I'm surprised they didn't just throw Junior on. You know what I mean? Your name is Junior.
It came close. So there it was. So I dodged that bullet.
My brother's name. See, my brother was named after my father. He's Arturo Moraga Jr.
Yeah, see, I'm a junior as well.
But nobody calls him Arturo.
They call
He's
him
now
Junior.
They
Junior.
call him. Yeah.
Frankly, no. Thankfully, not frankly.
Frankly?
Frankly, I'm thankful.
That's me.
My name is Gabriel.
Well, you're the one that didn't like enough to give the family that. It's like the firstborn.
I was the unexpected one.
Right.
Oh, we thought we were done.
They thought you were a girl, too. That's why they gave you that Gabrielle.
Your brother, that's the junior, is the older.
Yeah.
No, Gobby's the oldest. They
No.
actually didn't like him enough to give him the name. And then they're like, we're going to name your
There's
brother
like,
Junior.
he's not worthy of such a name.
No, my brother is 6 years older than me. He's 50 years old.
He's old.
That's crazy.
I wonder how kids feel like if they do have younger siblings that end up being a junior. Like, I wonder how they do feel about that. Like, do they take that personal? Like, normally that's a firstborn kind of thing, right?
Well, it would be a third, wouldn't it? Or are you saying
no,
are
junior.
you saying like if Jerry's dad had named him Marty and then he had another kid that he named him Jerry Jr., I wouldn't take offense to that because I'm not big on the carrying down of names. I don't get that.
Of course, because you don't have children.
I have no
And you're not
heirs.
civilized.
Ever procreated, you'd understand the need you have.
But you did not name your children, Jack.
I did. I wanted to name my
no,
kid.
God, you did.
I
Wait, you
wanted
named your
to,
kid Jack.
Yes,
Not Jerry.
That was a contention.
So what, your wife, did she trump that?
All the kids, all the people in my family, on my side of the family, are named after somebody. So it's a family thing. So I wanted to name my son Jack after myself or someone, and of course my wife
What do you
completely.
mean yourself? Is Jack short for Jerry?
No, I wanted to name him after me.
Oh, you want to name him Jerry?
If you would pay attention to the story, stop interrupting me.
Oh my God.
No, I was a little confused. You're not alone.
Thank
anyway,
you,
well,
Frankie. He doesn't explain well, and then you get in trouble when you ask questions.
Well,
That's
Well, he
Jerry.
said name him Jack, but your name
After
is Jerry.
me.
so-
Exactly.
You did say
Thank
that.
you. Yes, 3 against 1.
Well, I'm talking to 3 people who are like not
Well,
exactly.
talk to one. No, just talk to one person.
So,
and don't talk to
anyways,
three.
fired, Enrique.
the fact is that he is named after a great uncle,
I see.
so it's still in the family.
As in an uncle of importance or just
Some
he was
random
great?
uncle.
Yeah, he's real great. He did a lot of
He's
great
a super
things.
guy.
He had a fake leg.
He was a super guy.
He had lost his leg. I don't know exactly how he lost his leg, but he had a wooden leg, like a legit wooden old prosthetic. And so what he would do,
peg.
just like a peg. And so my dad would say that your great uncle Jack would go to the bar and get the drinking, and then he would take out this rather large knife that he would have, and he would stab his wooden leg and like jerk it around, and just to scare people, to be like just to go crazy. Stuff like that. Yeah. So Jack was R.I.P.
Is he dead?
Yeah. Oh, he's been dead for a long time. He
Went to the bar one too many times.
He had one leg. I'm not sure how he
His
lost that
liver
leg.
exploded.
He got drunk one time and forgot which leg. Stuck it in the other leg. Yeah.
Ricky Bobbied himself.
He Ricky Bobbied himself. But anyways, so we're glad. Well, we're sort of amused that Frankie could come on.
Frankie Lefebvre of Superboard Sunday. What's your Instagram? What is something you wish to promote the most?
Podcast for one.
It's
Superboard Sunday.
it's getting bigger slowly, mainly because you're in the Gateway Network, and hopefully
The network? The
You've got
network?
4 people on your show.
that neck?
You may have to trim some of the fat, because some of your cast members are a little more entertaining than others.
Ooh, all right.
But that's okay.
I like where you're headed. I want to know
Shots
specifically which fat you want us to trim.
Well, no. I'm just saying it's hard. It's hard to find your groove when you're first starting out. You kind of have to shape and mold people. Some it takes a lot longer.
Is this why you guys got rid of Bubba?
No, Bubba got rid of us. Bubba has stopped. Bubba did not come
Bubba
on.
cut us. Is that what you
cut us
said?
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bubba is a busy man.
He actually, okay, so a month ago, I text Bubba, I'm saying, New Year's Eve, game day, we're all off Friday. I said, we want you for like 12 hours, 8 to 8. We're gaming, podcasting.
Yep.
He's like, let me clear it with my wife. Text me back. We're good. We're good to go.
Nice.
This Tuesday, he says he works for the state. He works for TxDOT. He says, I didn't realize that they emailed us all and said, y'all all know y'all are working Friday, right? Like, that's not a day off for y'all because New Year's is Saturday.
Oh, that's a bummer.
And I was like, you've got to be kidding me.
So we lost Bubba. So Bubba is hard to nail down, even though he is a fan favorite, and we may just have to.
He's like a rare catch that you can never get.
I try to get him all the time, but he's just, I think he's a CIA agent, really.
Well, seeing how he like quickly transverse the United States, I would say he's a CIA.
He does move quickly
Yes.
for a man
Like a cat.
of his stature.
Yeah,
He is a
like
fast moving man.
He's taller than Gabi, or at least as tall as Gabi, right?
What's the hype got to do with
I
it?
don't know. Enrique, look.
I weigh more than him if we're going on measurements.
I just like, I don't. Enrique has no sense of.
Height does not equal speed. Look at Manute Bowl. Look at Sean Bradley. Like, no, it does not equal speed.
Oh, an NBA guy.
Yes.
Jerry doesn't know any of those names you're
I
talking
know
about.
them. Those are people who bounce balls and into baskets. I understand. I'm all about sports. I love curling. Well, I had, and I don't know how y'all do it on Superboard Sunday. I mean, I'll listen to you a few times, mainly just to make sure y'all are coming along. But in terms of being able to sit down and consistently play board games, do you have your own board gaming group? Because I know your guys are all scattered out all over the country.
Yeah. Brian decided, hey, I'm going to go out to the West Coast with Christian now. So that kind of broke up that little group. But I personally have a significant, my wife is just as into the hobby as I am, thankfully. So actually, my plan is once we're done with this recording, I believe we're going to get into Wingspan and maybe if I can twist her arm and beat her at a couple more games of Mandala. But as far as playgroup, not really. Like, I've got a couple guys at work that we play games on Thursday at lunch, but we've got kind of a short lunch break. It's like a half hour, so it's not like we can really get into anything meaty or heavy. But no, for the most part, it's just my wife and I, and then occasionally, the other guys over in New Hampshire, Jim and the McMeeples, those kind of people, they'll get together at a spot over there. And
Sam and Michaela,
Oh, yeah.
part of the Gateway Network.
I knew that. I'm a member of that network. Thank you, Jeff. So it's good to hear that your wife likes mediocre board games as well. wingspan, and so.
I take offense to that a little bit, but I get where you're coming from.
Well, I know it's fine. I mean, like I said, y'all will progress. Now, the Hanakamoji is a 2-player game, and that I highly recommend. That's
Hanakamoji.
very similar to
Hanamakoji. I forget every time.
Okay.
You say it wrong every time.
Well, I'm consistent, but there's it's hard to find a good 2-player game.
Agreed.
That has very interesting decisions and is not just the same old trick taking type.
Right.
Do you solo game?
No, I haven't. Because that's the thing. If I set up a game, my wife's going to walk by the table and get pissed that I didn't just ask her to play, like, why didn't you just set up Gloomhaven? Or why didn't you just, why didn't we plug away at the crew?
Why are you excluding your wife?
Right, exactly.
Your wife doesn't enjoy gaming as much as Frankie's, and mine doesn't either.
Makes the heart grow fonder.
My wife's like crazy about it. Like I think she bought like all the games at Christmas time this year and like was researching this game, that game. Like, yeah, she's pretty intense about it.
It sounds like she should be on your podcast. Maybe it would kind of spice up and give some clarity to some of the opinions and taste expressed on Superboard Sunday. Not to say that, Christian or Ryan are, mediocre. Anyway, so are you planning on going to any conventions this year?
I had planned to go to our, I guess I'd say our local that we all met up at originally.
Granite.
Yes, Granite Game Summit over in New Hampshire. I personally wasn't a fan of how they were handling COVID situations, I guess.
I liked how BGG did it this year. I kind of followed it because I was interested in seeing how they would get around it. And they had separate... their con is always very large and has several different rooms. And so they mandated one area that was nothing but masks. And so it was very well precautioned and everyone that can go in there. And the way that they did that is that if you wanted to avoid a large part of the crowd and be masked and be kind of separated out. And plus it was in a hotel. So a lot of times in BGG, we played in our room anyways, or in a private room. So you could do that option. Or if you didn't care, you just go into the open gaming and it was all completely optional in terms of masks. And so I thought that went very well. And it's going to be one of those things that from here on out, and even Gabi expressed this because he's had a lot of I don't know how to describe it. I don't want to say it's PTSD, but you kind of panic now just thinking about it in terms of the going out in public and being around people.
Yeah, I went to a bowling alley. A main event. They're big down here. They're like a shenanigans. They're these places where you go in, you can bowl, you can play video games, you can play shuffleboard, all that type of stuff. But we went in there, and it was like the first time since the pandemic there's been a bunch of people. Just like tons of people. But it was like the first time, I don't know why, since the pandemic, I just feel like germs everywhere.
No, I get it. I live with someone who was a germaphobe. Good Lord.
Germaphobe.
I hate the month of June.
But my wife's a germaphobe and was before all this hit. So like it's been pretty intense because we've had our fair share of COVID interactions, I guess I would say. Thankfully, knock on wood, it stays that way. But like, I get it. It can be. I even feel it sometimes because like there was a group that got together over this summer locally, a wiffle ball league. Super cool. Like real fun guys.
A wiffle ball league, not super cool.
Come on. It is so fun.
The plastic ball with the holes in it.
I was about to ask.
And a wiffle bat.
Okay. I was about to ask. I didn't want to say it.
I challenge you to find someone that can actually pitch a wiffle ball to you and you even get your bat on the... It is
wiffle ball?
You cannot put wiffle ball and super cool in the same sentence.
Wiffle ball?
It just can't be...
Wow. Nobody...
I did that in 8th grade PE. What are you talking about?
Go on YouTube.
Are we playing dodgeball next?
I have a challenge.
There's some crazy
Ricky, I got a challenge
tetherball. Tetherball.
I want you
I was
to go.
a tetherball master when I was in 8th grade.
I need you to successfully get some female to go on a date with you, when you're asking her at some point, you have to insert that you are the captain of a wiffle ball league.
We are the wiffle ball World Series champions.
What is your team names? The sub whiffers or something like that. I don't know. Come up with something. So I'm gonna have to stop here for a moment because I don't even know where to go with that. That's like the ball. Jack has one of those.
You throw it, it goes, and you hit it with your little yellow plastic
bat. But it's not
bat.
in a baseball field, is it? It's like played next to in a Kroger's parking lot, isn't it? Because it's like
because a wiffle ball is just like a hollow ball, right?
Yes,
it's got like the little holes on the side of it, and that thing gets some action on it if you know what you're doing. But sorry, you guys are phenomenal athletes. I'm sure you guys are
I'm not laughing.
Oh, but you're giggling really hard. You're not laughing, giggling.
That's super weird.
That is next to the tetherball league. It's next to the tetherball league.
T-ball. The T-ball. Frankie, I'm so sorry. I can't.
Don't be sorry. I can handle it. I'm really glad that it's not Christian, because Christian would be breaking down crying.
Here's what happened. Here's what happened. Literally 5 minutes before this podcast, Gabi pulls me aside and says, whatever.
We should start a wiffle ball league?
No.
Is that what he said?
He says, you don't go hard. You've been drinking. Leave Frank alone. Don't say anything.
No,
I'm like,
please.
And I'm like, I don't say anything mean. And here you are bashing wiffle ball.
Not against people, against wiffle ball.
You can't bash wiffle ball.
Go buy another ball for 3 cents.
We're going to get a cease and desist from the United Federation of Wiffle Ballers.
I'm telling you, you guys are going to use
your comments about wiffle ball really missed us up. We are so angry at you. Please.
When this is done, you're going to search on YouTube Wiffle Ball League, and you guys are going to be amazed at what you see.
Well, I'll end up starting my own and get heavily involved.
It's a great community builder. As much as you guys are on me for it, cool, yeah, whatever. But honestly, it's a great community we've kind of put
here's
together.
Something that got me. Somebody referred to me the Tag Federation.
Yes, we're familiar with Tag.
You guys have watched that?
No. You've not watched the actual.
Yeah, it's like parkour tag.
Arena
it's insane.
Parkour tag. That is phenomenal.
I've seen it on ESPN Ocho.
I love that, and I thought
the Ocho.
That is some great. That is that, and it's not
literally. They have leagues for any stupid game you can think of.
But that's not stupid though.
I did not know.
Wiffle ball is stupid.
Did not
Running
know.
around playing tag is super cool.
No, here's the difference.
Know there was a cornhole federation. Cornhole.
Oh, yeah. There's like a legit organization that if you're playing in tournaments, you need to use their specific bag.
I'm sure. Horseshoes? I'm sure there's one for that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Hand grenades.
I want the hand grenade league.
All of our geriatric listeners are chuckling to themselves. Oh. So I mean, I am desperately wanting to go to a convention because I enjoy BGG Con is amazing. Even the summer or the spring BGG.
That's the one in Dallas, correct?
Yes, that's the one in Big D. Don't mean Dallas. It's a great place. And it's all about just the games and having plenty of room to game and meeting people, and not so much about purchasing games. They do the Build as Yards winners and things of that nature. But
I went to PAX East, which was a mistake for one, because it was like mostly video games, which I was fine with. But I would have rather have gone to, say, a PAX Unplugged, because PAX East, like I said, was more vendors and, the video game stuff. And then there was like one little back corner where they had a bunch of tables for open gaming and stuff. And that's one of the reasons we all like to go to Granite Game Summit, because for one, it's mostly gaming oriented, but also where it's a bit of a smaller convention, there's a big sense of community in it, and where everyone you don't have to, but you have the option to bring your own games, kind of set them under, they've got a big table that kind of loops around the whole room. And then, it's got like a number underneath it. So say you're sitting under number 7, you take and throw a little, number indicator inside your games. And then that way other people can come up. Oh, well, I don't own, this game, but someone has brought it for others to play. So you can check out games that you wouldn't necessarily go out of your way to purchase that way. It's really nice.
That's what BGG is all about. Their library is very extensive, and plus, it's been going on for so long. Like when you get your badge, I always encourage you to put how many times you've been there. And there are people who have been there for like 10 times in a row or every time and all that. And every year you tend to see these same people. Like the first time we went was at 2015, 2016,
16.
somewhere around that time. Every time we go, I see the same guy that we gamed with the very first day we were there, and like every time I see him, he's got the same hat.
Hey,
and
Tony!
He sees us, and it's like you recognize the same people, and
Yeah.
most of them live in that area or they fly there every year, and they love the fact that it's the same 3,000 or 4,000 people generally come every year, and you get used to seeing people that you just recognize. And it's
As opposed to Gen Con's what, 100,000 people?
yeah, it's
I have zero interest in Gen Con. What's the other big one? Origins?
The Origins, yeah.
No, thanks.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking for I desperately want to go to a convention in 2022. I do not know if I'll be able to, or if I am able to, if I'll be able to drag Gobby with me. So
I want to go clear it with my wife.
Well, your wife.
And possibly donate to the Moraga funds.
We're gonna get
Do we have to bribe her? Like, what would it take?
But whatever the ticket cost.
You can go to Vegas. You just drive your truck.
Yeah, I was gonna say, from you guys
I
are
need
in
fuel.
what, northern Texas area, right?
It's fine.
Northeast Texas.
Fine. We can make
Far
it.
away from-
We can make it Vegas.
How far is Vegas from
can't
here?
do
Vegas
that
in
for-
a
You know
day,
what?
less than a day.
We'll
I
get
say.
to
You know, I'm
Vegas.
Google mapping it right now.
So, Frankie, let me get
Yeah.
back on it. I had this question.
Vegas.
I often,
Ooh, I'm going to go to the Vegas Strip.
hey, I often associate.
Directions? Let's see.
I
Hold on.
often associate people with their favorite board game. What is your favorite board game? I don't think I can
It's
recall it.
Clank.
Is it Clank?
It's Clank the Legacy.
Look at this guy. Yeah,
That's-
if I were to pick
okay.
one, it'd probably be the Legacy
No.
because that was my wife and I's
Rika, you have
quarantine
Clank at your
game.
house, right? Yeah, you do have Clank. You bought Clank, and we've played Clank.
Las Vegas, 18 hours, 22 minutes, just saying.
That ain't bad. We can get
Within
there.
a day, I said that. Come on.
So, and Clank's not bad.
A day on meth.
You get there.
could take that
It's not
But
fun.
again, you have to remember my collection is more catered towards being able to play with like a general pop kind of thing.
right,
like a-
right.
A
You're-
cash gamer.
Yeah.
you-
Well, my
simple
wife has
people.
played like Dungeon Pets, which she was all right with, but like even Five Tribes, I feel
Yeah.
as though like I'm
I've never played that.
It's kind of a difficult brain burning game.
yeah, the Mancala at the end of it trying to assess what you can do for moves, and she's always throwing her hands up in the air, and I'm like, I see like 2-3 more moves.
It's one of those games. It's one of those games that it feels like you never can truly plan way too far ahead. Like
No.
you're just this is your moment, and
You
have.
played it?
I think it's at BGG. I didn't really
I've never
give it
played
much of
I
a
always wanted to.
It's
I want to
you
play
hate
it with more than 2 players though, because I really feel because you can kind of set yourself up a little bit better just playing 2-player. Oh well, I'm going to drop this one off here and hope they don't notice that this meets into that. But if you've got a third person, it kind of messes up that rhythm a little bit.
Did you know that sperm is being used to create an eco-friendly alternative to plastic? You didn't know that, did you? It says a new eco-friendly plastic made from salmon, not salmon, salmon
Seam.
sperm
It's salmon. There's an L.
has been invented by scientists in China. 2 short strands of DNA from the sperm were combined with a chemical from vegetable oil that binds them together. What this creates is a squishy material known as hydrogel that then solidifies,
Salmon.
and you can be drinking coffee from a cup of salmon sperm.
I prefer to call it caviar, but I mean,
Why did you want to do this? Why did you stop? You stopped, got out your phone, found that, and
good.
decided I'm going for it. I know you've had it.
Did you know
I
for
know.
a while?
I know.
And I've been waiting to get it out.
I'm glad you did. I'm glad you got it out.
Do you have any hopes and dreams for Superboard Sunday? Do y'all just like get together when y'all can for funsies, or
that's kind of the way it's been recently. There's been a lot of, what do I want to say? I don't want to say turmoil necessarily, but like there's been a lot going on since I'd say probably like September, with Brian moving and then individuals having some personal issues and what have you, where generally we try to record once a week and then
False. I requested a new recording every Sunday, and it never comes.
But that's what I'm saying. Between people falling out or an episode getting recorded, and then because as it stands right now, one person, no, we have two people that can upload. But if they're busy or say maybe in the process of moving cross country, that kind of leaves us in a limbo.
Ooh, shots fired, Brian.
Which now that Brian's all set up, it shouldn't be an issue. But I personally have told him, hey, I'd like to know just in the instance where, you know, someone's busy or can't do it. Personally, I intend to be a bit more active on our Instagram, because I know on my own personal Instagram, I could care about number of followers, but I do know the number that I have has been kind of brought about organically and more so just because I'm active on it. Where on our Superboard Sunday Instagram account, I might post that an episode is posted and then not again for like 2, I'll miss a couple episodes.
You're just like promoting your episode, which really doesn't do a whole lot unless you get people involved.
But at the same time, I want to be on there, not just promoting the show, but also posting some of the stuff that maybe we're doing on Discord or what have you, just to kind of make it a bit more active and actually gain more followers on it. So that's my intention for the next year, is maybe not daily posts on it, but at least, 2-3 times a week, just something to kind of make it more visible.
Who does the editing? Do you edit?
Our editing is very, very minimal from my understanding. I believe it is generally Brian.
We can tell.
From the 137 ums of Brian, I can tell it's very minimal.
How dare you? I like Brian's ums.
It lulls me to sleep.
No, ums are like indicate to the listeners that you're thinking.
I'm thinking of the next word to say.
And you're thinking, what?
I love Brian. You got to start editing some of them ums out, Brian.
How dare you?
I'm super conscious about everything. Like, even when I pause to think about what I'm trying to say without kind of tripping over my words, it drives me insane. Like, in the back of my head, because I'll go back and listen to our episodes and I'm like, I sounded ridiculous there because I was fumbling over words, or I took too much time to really get moving on whatever that thought was. That stuff bugs me. So ums and the use of like drives me. I've turned off multiple podcasts because in the middle of it, someone just keeps like, I'm done. You get 3, I'm out. I can't do it anymore.
Word whiskers that come out where people just, and everybody does it. It's hard unless you listen to yourself.
You should hear Jerry, the ones I edit out.
Yeah.
A lot. He does a lot of ums. And I'm very conscious of it. And it's hard. It is hard. And like, even when you're listening, something I've noticed when people are as podcasters, when you're listening to someone else talk, we feel the need to acknowledge what they're saying, like with right. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
That's why I just
right. And you do that a lot, and I edit them all out. I try to edit them out.
Why do you edit out my
because it's just
people like that. I get emails all the time.
How about that keeps one in an ASMR episode? Like that's perfect for it.
It's like that. It's like that.
Give me the Kool-Aid. Oh yeah.
Yes.
It's like old Jeff Goldblum.
I enjoy y'all's podcast.
Sliding into your McConaughey, though.
Like that. Jeff Goldblum and McConaughey.
I enjoy the Superboard Sunday. I've come to know Frankie, Christian, and Brian. I don't know Jim, really. I don't know who he is.
Jim's a busy man. That's one of the things. Like, it sucks. I don't think he's been on for months now.
It's been a while. I asked Chris to stop rubbing somebody's...
Enrique's rubbing his beard around
people
the
just rub their beard into the microphone, and that's the crap.
He's just like rubbing it all over his face like a cat. Like, what's going on?
What are you doing? What are you doing? I've turned you off, Enrique. You've lost it.
I'm sorry. I'm just like doing this.
Start shaving during the podcast into the microphone.
I'm sorry. It's
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
It was just like it was
See,
involuntary.
and as the
I
editor,
apologize
my
for that.
ears are finally attuned to that crap. And I'm just like, oh my God, it drives me crazy. And I listen to other podcasts and they can be good, but it's just like,
He's just upset because he has no hair. Anyway.
I can grow it on my chin.
No, I
think
apologize
the
for
original
that.
intention was just to kind of have it be you're sitting in on our conversation. So it's not, and I get it. Like, it probably should be a little more chopped up, a little more succinct, and cutting out those and the break and Christian of course likes to leave that pregnated pause before we introduce him, which is
An
hilarious.
impregnated pause. Jerry loves
I
those.
love those pregnant pauses.
They
bear fruit.
great. Oh, you
See, you didn't
ruined
even,
it.
You didn't even let him do it.
I know.
it was too much
I'm
tension.
sorry.
folks.
It was
Couldn't
too much
handle I get
tension.
it.
He's like, I gotta break it.
It was premature.
Premature.
It was premature.
Hey, I could use that to make a cup.
I'm sure you could.
Coffee mug.
I'm sure
Yuff.
you could. A big gulp.
All right.
There
well,
is a,
that's going to do it for this episode.
Is that it? Is that
I've got to go.
I'm glad you guys had me on. Again, if ever you guys have the opportunity and looking, shoot me a message. I'd love to be on again. This was great.
Of course.
Listen to you guys all the time. It's kind of weird to be involved in something you listen to so much.
Enjoyed it very much. To catch Frankie LaFay further, check out his Instagram at Rex Games with WREK. Okay, explain that.
Yes. Okay. So video games, Xbox, when it first came out, I used to go by Franco with a PH. Because that's cool, right? Is that cool enough? Is that cooler than Wiffle Ball? Please tell me
that
that's
is
cooler
super
than Wiffle
cool. Yeah, super cool.
Okay, thank
Go
you.
ahead.
So there was a band that I listened to that had a song named Rectifier. So, of course, if you're going to have a cool gamer tag, it's got to be spelled all funny. So I spelled it WREKTAFYR. And so Rectifier was like my main account name for most everything. Well, I had my general family Instagram. And once I got into this hobby, I started not seeing my daughter's posts on Instagram and my friends' posts on Instagram because everything was board games. So in order to kind of separate the two, I made the Rex Games account separately so I could kind of keep my board games.
WREKS and then games.
Or you can
Correct.
find him at the New Hampshire Wiffle Ball League.
No.
I'm in Maine.
Maine.
Don't ever associate me
Maine.
with
What?
folks
It's
that
all
are-
up there. I don't know.
Easy.
Those loser New
it's up there.
Hampshireans.
Yeah, it's up there.
Hampshire.
Where's the old Hampshire?
Maniac for life.
Also found on Superboard Sunday. Coming at you every other Sunday, possibly Monday.
Yeah, maybe sometimes
Third
during the week.
Thursday.
Who knows?
That's
Who knows?
BOARD.
B.O.
Super Board Sunday.
Superboard Sunday, part of the Gateway Network.
Thank you, Jeff.
All right, Frankie, it's been nice having you on. Thanks for coming on.
I appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
And we'll holler at you later. I'm Gabi.
This is Jeff.
You've just been entertained by the Board Game Snobs. You lucky devil.